Welcome back, dear listeners. In today's video, someone gets something returned out of spite, with a little message that can't be told. Our first post is by Sly Lady Fox. Ice cream man snipped my kid. My kid ran outside to get an ice cream from the ice cream man. Kiddo returned a little sad. I asked what's wrong. She said, I asked the ice cream man for my change. He gave me this lollipop and drove off before I could say anything. My kid doesn't like lollipops. Even if she did, it wouldn't have been a fair trade. Not by a long shot. Anyway, I drove over to Costco and bought a few boxes of ice cream bars. For the next few weeks, my kid shared ice cream with all the kids on our side of the neighborhood. My kid made some new friends. And no one on our side of the neighborhood bought from the ice cream man during that time. In unintended side effect, when we ran out, other parents started chipping in and provided snacks for the kids who played outside. Our next post is by Two Spinning Triangles. Kept finding bottles of peppermint schnapps in my yard. I collected them, then waited. I bought a house on a corner when I moved to this area. I kept my yard cut and clean. This corner seems to be a place where trash was thrown out regularly. From the beginning, I kept finding peppermint schnapps pints along one of the fence lines. The first one I hit with a mower. It seemed every day I would see one on my property in the same spot. I knew it had to be a neighbor. So I quit throwing them in the recycling bin and started to collect one after another. I hoped to eventually find whoever had this bad habit. I filled one huge contractor bag. Then one turned into two. One day, I was off early and trimming the hedges by the house. Then I heard it. A thunk, followed by something hitting the fence. I finally caught the litter bug. Now, I have the car and driver. I jumped in my truck and headed in the direction the guy went. He had just got out of his car and went inside. I drove back home and loaded the heavy bags of glass pints. Later that evening, I went to the man's house. There was another car in the driveway. I got out, rang the doorbell, and walked back to get the bags. An older woman answered the door as I was coming back. She asked if she could help me. I said yes. I told her that I've dealt with this problem and was tired of it. The husband had now come outside. I took one bag and dumped it on the driveway. Bottles broke and flopped around. I grabbed the other bag and did the same. I told them that I was sick of picking up after him and had better not see another pint in my yard. She immediately turned to him and started yelling. Apparently, he had a bad drinking problem and promised that he had quit. He would down the pint before he got home, and my yard was his dumping zone. I never did see another bottle of schnapps after this. Our next post is by Patient Currency. Little sister calling me a parasitic leech? Enjoy the Amish lifestyle. I'm 28 years old and I live in a small town where there is a lack of jobs. I moved back in with my parents since we have a good relationship. I buy all the groceries and pay some of the bills. My little sister, 16, however, was not happy. She was saying that I should be a man and move out again. A few weeks ago, she started continuously calling me a freeloader and a parasitic leech. My parents are anti-tech. They are not part of a religious cult. They just avoid tech and live a simplistic lifestyle. The only modern tech they use is a laundry machine, a car, a flip phone, and a TV. They don't, however, take away our gadgets if we paid for it ourselves. When I turned 18 and was looking for my first job, I had to handwrite a resume since we didn't have a computer or a printer. It's impossible to get a job while still in high school because of the small job market in town. Now, my sister was lucky. I bought her a PC, a smartphone, and a data mobile plan since she was a young child, yet she was continuously calling me a parasitic leech. Eventually, my little sister's constant name-calling got on my nerves, and I came up with a plan. I simply canceled the data plan and repossessed all my belongings. Now she's having the same childhood I have. Oh, and she stopped with the name-calling. Enjoy the Amish lifestyle, little sis. Edit. The smartphone and data is under an installment plan, and the PC was ordinarily kept in the living room and shared between my sister and I before I moved out. I did not steal anything. It wouldn't be stealing anyway. It's the stuff you bought. I don't know who in the comments would be saying that. I mean, I guess the PC, but if it was like a communal PC, you still bought it and let the community, your house, use it. So it's still yours. And the data plan you were continuously paying for, so you just stopped paying. This was just you taking your stuff back. There's no stealing here. Whoever said you were stealing is crazy. Our next post is by Ali QV. I found something my ex-husband accused me of destroying, and I returned it. My marriage, we were both in our 30s, and this is important, had problems right away. One of the manifestations was him berating me for not going to the elite university. I went to a very good undergrad and even a better grad school. I hadn't finished at that point. But he went to one of the best schools in the country, known for graduates with a chip on their shoulder. That was really all he had on me, and I would just laugh. Even his parents told him he was being a jerk and sounded like an idiot because I had an impressive education, something I had never felt the need to discuss before. So anyway, he became really competitive about his college and especially his friends from college. Very few he was still in touch with. This was before Facebook. And he had this photo box full of memorabilia. Cardboard, no lock or anything. I had a dozen or so myself. A normal thing would be to go through his and mine together and share memories and stories and bond. I didn't really care about what was in the box, and college stories are boring when you weren't there, but I would have listened. But the box became a symbol of everything wrong, with him constantly saying I'm not good enough for his college friends. At some point, he forbid me to look in the box. Of course, I didn't take this well. Telling me I wasn't good enough to see what's in the box was like kerosene. It got brought up every fight, like a death spiral of, you're just jealous of my friends. Your friends suck and I wouldn't like them anyway. I didn't say I was the hero in this story. Fast forward through years of abuse. We moved on to more spectacular fights, and the box fell pretty far down the list. Then, for some reason, one day, he said I threw it away because I was jealous and petty. I didn't. But after a few years of this, he managed to convince me maybe I did. That's how abuse works. And you threw away my box. Went back into heavy rotation. I begged his forgiveness and fell into deeper depression over the depths that my life had sunk. Finally, got a divorce. Cops, ROs, the whole nine. I healed, moved on. Years later, I sold my house. It was mine before. And when I was packing up, I found that damn box. I had such an emotional reaction, my legs buckled. I sat on the floor and wept. My boyfriend was really sweet about it. He didn't know about the box. It's so ridiculous, and I was so ashamed, but mostly I'd put it all behind me by then, until it all came rushing back. I called a mutual friend and asked him to come over to get the box so they could get it to him. People suggested I should throw away out of spite, but I had something to prove. Before I turned it over, I put copies of 2 unpublished essays I wrote about what he did to me, along with a handwritten note. I knew you didn't have the balls to kill me, and I sold your D&D books. Who's he going to tell? I mean, he probably will, but then he has to admit what's in the essay, and then he's the 52-year-old man bitching 10 years post-divorce that his ex-wife sold his D&D books. Thank you, dear listeners, for tuning in to another Reddit video. If you would like to, click another video. And if you would be so kind as to like and subscribe. Thank you very much.